everybody, it's Wallguy, and it's time once again for some Medal of Honor 2010 gameplay. This is pulled from my archives because I was unable to get new footage. I have been playing the game a little bit lately, but the server situation has gotten really bad. EA's let the back end go to hell, so there's not a server out there right now that runs consistently and nicely and proper. It's just a lag fest. If I go into a game and try to play, I see my teammates, I see the enemies, everyone is just warping all over the place 100% of the time. There's absolutely zero continuity in the flow of someone running from point A to point B. It's just like watching a slideshow. That's no fun, and if it continues that way, getting new gameplay beyond my archives is going to be tough. But here we are, and we'll enjoy it as the archives still exist, but not for too much longer. EA really should be ashamed of the state of disrepair that they leave this game in. It's just not right. There's a lot of people that still want to play it, including myself and Meowth, but it makes it hard when it's basically unplayable. I really hope for everyone's sake that the way it runs is isolated to the west coast of the USA, because if it plays like this everywhere or in most places, I can't imagine anyone wanting to play this much longer, because it's a total mess. And I really hope that there is a place in the world somewhere that people can play this game without these problems. I really do hate having to bring these sort of things up every time I bring out a 2010 video right now, because I don't put out a lot of 2010 videos, and it's supposed to be a joyous occasion when I do, because I have a lot of love for the game, I still do. But EA really is stabbing fans in the back over and over again, and with 2010, it's the fact that they refuse to maintain the back end properly, and they just let the servers get worse and worse. It really started to set in this past summer, and it's only getting worse. It's like they're basically telling you to throw the game out and buy Warfighter, yet another game that they don't support properly. So as much as I hate to keep bringing it up and ragging on EA, it needs to be brought up and kept in public opinion, public thought, that EA is just not doing their job correctly. They're not treating their customers with dignity or respect, and, you know, we need to talk about it until they change. Good luck with that, I know, but that's the only way that you're ever going to force change, is if you can embarrass them into doing it. Okay, that's enough of that. Today I want to talk about a topic that's often brought up to me. Let's say that you're a console gamer, and you've had some fun being a console gamer for a long time, but you're curious about PC gaming. You've always wanted to try it, you just maybe didn't know how. Maybe it seemed like a little bit too much to figure out what you needed to do, or, you know, how do I even start, basically? Well, a good place to start is to clear up a couple of myths that seem to permeate the console gaming community when it comes to PC gaming and their thoughts about it. The first one is that PC gaming is super expensive. You supposedly need to drop a couple grand to have a decent gaming rig. But this is actually not true, and in fact, you may already have a capable computer in your home. It may not be super top of the line, best at everything, whatever, but you don't have to be best at everything to have a competent gaming PC that can play the latest games at decent settings. If your household has purchased a computer in the past 5 years or so, it's highly likely that your computer is at least somewhat ready for PC gaming. If it's not ready as is, probably all you need to do is spend about $150 to $500 or $600 to get it up to spec and be able to play the latest games at good settings. And if you think about it, that falls right within the range of prices that you paid for your console game system this generation. Currently, the key components to a competent gaming PC are a quad-core CPU and a graphics card that costs about $150 or more. Another myth that console gaming people generally have about PC gaming is that you have to constantly upgrade your computer to be able to play the latest games. And that's just not true. I don't know why this persists as a rumor. It's kind of silly. But I guess you have a console game system and you think you're locked in for 5 to 7 years. Well, it can be that way with the PC too. You upgrade really because you want to upgrade, because you want more performance, and that performance is always there for you, if you have anything that needs upgrading. You don't have to take it, and it's not necessary. You can wait 5 years or so between upgrades and still have a good gaming experience with most games with good settings. So upgrading constantly, that's a personal choice. You don't have that choice with console gaming. You're stuck upgrading to an entirely new system whenever they deem it's necessary for you. With PC, you don't have to upgrade, but if you want to, the option's there. A good example of this in action, or the point I'm making, is if you bought yourself a decent quad-core CPU 5 years ago, it still can play the best games right now at the best settings, and you won't miss a beat really compared to even the most modern brand new processors. So think about that. Upgrading is not necessary as often as people think. So if you came into this video thinking that PC gaming has to be absurdly expensive because of the hardware, that's just not true, and I hope this dispelled that just a little bit. In fact, PC games often drop in price much quicker. You have platforms like Steam where you can often pick up fairly new games for a few dollars, and you can build up a library of hundreds of games for a very small amount of money compared to the slower dropping in price console games. So that's something to consider when you weigh the costs as well. I'd actually venture to say that PC gaming is ultimately cheaper than console gaming. That covers the broad strokes of the hardware side of PC gaming. But what about the transition to the very different culture of PC gaming? It's not really as hard as you might think, but it's not really a cakewalk either. If you're an FPS gamer, the competition level of PC gaming is much higher than console gaming. It's not to say that console gamers are not skilled or even as skilled. It has to do with the console controller interface versus a keyboard and mouse interface on PC. Keyboard and mouse makes aiming much easier, which raises the skill level of the lowest players quite a bit. Suddenly, those guys who are crouch walking in a corner and can't aim for crap on the console version can actually aim and hit you sometimes on PC. They become competent. So the level of competency at the bottom level is raised, and the level of skill across the board is raised when it comes to aiming. So average players become much better, good players become amazing, and elite players become like Neo in the Matrix, basically. If you're coming from consoles, you'll benefit from this advantage as well, but you'll notice a change in that the gameplay across the board becomes a lot faster. And instead of like becoming a master of a controller to dominate, you kind of have to use your brain to master everyone else, because the controller is no longer a roadblock for anyone. It becomes a game of psychological tinkering and trickery, and everything's just really fast. So that's the biggest difference. I recommend playing a campaign or two to master the controls of keyboard and mouse, but it doesn't really take much. You'll adjust and you'll have a lot of fun.